What is C language? C is a procedural programming language. It was initially developed by Dennis Ritchie in the year 1972. It was mainly developed as a system programming language to write an operating system. The main features of the C language include low-level memory access, a simple set of keywords, and a clean style. These features make C language suitable for system programmings like an operating system or compiler development. Many later languages have borrowed syntax features directly or indirectly from the C language, like syntax of Java, PHP, JavaScript, and many other languages are mainly based on the C language. C++ is nearly a superset of C language. Few programs may compile in C, but not in C++. History of C language. Number 1. The base or father of programming languages is ALGOL. It was first introduced in 1960. ALGOL was used on a large basis in European countries. ALGOL introduced the concept of structured programming to the developer community. In 1967, a new computer programming language was announced called as BCPL, which stands for Basic Combined Programming Language. BCPL was designed and developed by Martin Richards, especially for writing system software. This was the era of programming languages. Just after 3 years, in 1970, a new programming language called B was introduced by Ken Thompson that contained multiple features of BCPL. This programming language was created using Unix operating system at AT&T and Bell Laboratories. Both the BCPL and B were system programming languages. Number 2. In 1972, a great computer scientist Dennis Ritchie created a new programming language called C at the Bell Laboratories. It was created from ALGOL, BCPL and B programming languages. C programming language contains all the features of these languages and many more additional concepts that make it unique from other languages. Number 3. C is a powerful programming language which is strongly associated with the Unix operating system. Even most of the Unix operating system is coded in C. Initially, C programming was limited to the Unix operating system, but as it started spreading around the world, it became commercial, and many compilers were released for cross-platform systems. Today, C runs under a variety of operating systems and hardware platforms. As it started evolving, many different versions of the language were released. At times it became difficult for the developers to keep up with the latest version as the systems were running under the older versions. To assure that C language will remain standard, American National Standards Institute ANSI defined a commercial standard for C language in 1989. Later, it was approved by the International Standards Organization ISO in 1990. C programming language is also called as ANSI C. There are few part in structure of C program, which is preprocessor, function, variable declaration, body and the return. The preprocessor is not a part of the compiler, but is a separate step in the compilation process. In simple terms, a preprocessor is just a text substitution tool, and it instructs the compiler to do required preprocessing before the actual compilation. We'll refer to the C preprocessor as CPP. A function is a group of statements that together perform a task. Every C program has at least one function, which is main function, and all the most trivial programs can define additional functions. A variable is nothing but a name given to a storage area that our programs can manipulate. Each variable in C has a specific type, which determines the size and layout of the variable's memory, the range of values that can be stored within that memory, and the set of operations that can be applied to the variable. The body of a function in the C program refers to the operations that are performed in the functions. It can be anything like manipulations, searching, sorting, printing, etc. A return statement ends the execution of a function and returns control to the calling function. Execution resumes in the calling function at the point immediately following the call. A return statement can return a value to the calling function. There are few applications that use C language daily. The first one is browser design, for example is Mozilla Firefox. The second one is language compiler design, for example is Clang C. The third one is operating system design, for example is Android. The fourth one is GUI design, for example is Adobe Photoshop. The fifth one is computer game development, for example is Minesweeper. So, how to use C language? First we need the integrated development environment IDE. You can download the IDE, which is dev C++, or use the online IDE, which is Replit. Then, write down the coding. For example, write down this example of coding. After finish write down the coding, click the compile button and run the program, so you can see the output.